Hi, I'm Wendy Warren, Director of Education at Holocaust Museum Houston. In response to the need for distance learning, HMH has created 3 virtual tours for students and community groups. Participants can tour the museum's galleries virtually and interact live with a certified HMH docent. Tour options include the Holocaust Gallery, the Lester and Sue Smith Human Rights Gallery, the Samuel Bach Gallery and Learning Center, or a combination of the 3. The Holocaust Gallery Tour presents an overview of the Holocaust, from the rise of Nazism through the post-war experience. It also features artifacts from local survivors and powerful images from the time period. The Lester and Sue Smith Human Rights Gallery Tour explores the concept of human rights and the individuals who have struggled to promote and protect these rights since the Holocaust. In the Samuel Bach Gallery Tour, you will experience the paintings of Holocaust survivor Samuel Bach and learn about the role of the Holocaust in his art. HMH docent-led tours are offered in English and Spanish. Please join us to learn about the Holocaust and human rights by booking your virtual tour today. For details, go to hmh.org.
Hello, and welcome to the 2020 Guardian of the Human Spirit virtual event honoring Dr. Milton Boniak, a longtime philanthropist and author. While few of us could have imagined we'd still be experiencing a global pandemic, increasing racial unrest, and the many other challenges we face today, the year 2020 has also provided a new vision, one of opportunity to bring diverse communities together to fight injustice. Together, we are stronger than we are as individuals. Dr. Boniak has lived his life believing that differences among individuals should be celebrated, not feared. With this tenet, he has long been a uniter. So it is appropriate that each of you has joined us this afternoon to honor him for his service to the community as a true guardian of the human spirit. Before we go any further, I'd like to express my heartfelt gratitude to the many sponsors who honor Dr. Boniak today by supporting the mission's commitment to Holocaust and human rights education. Without you, we could not do the important work we do each day, using the lessons of the Holocaust to teach the dangers of hatred, prejudice, and apathy. Honorary chairs for this year's historic event include Dr. Mark Boom, President and CEO of Houston Methodist, and David Lebron, President of Rice University. Special thanks go out to our host committee chairs, Abby Daniels and Debbie Tumans. Our Luncheon chairs exemplify the heart of Houston's philanthropic community. This year, 4 dynamic couples worked together using their time and influence to help today's event become a resounding success. We are forever grateful to Luncheon chairs Deborah and Stephen Cohen, Lisa Holland Nelson and Bob Bowman, Elise and Louis Kalmans, and Doctors Ann and Timothy Stout. As our event chairs have shown us, Holocaust Museum Houston is only as strong as the people who support it. That sentiment is especially true of our new board chair, Carl Josart, who began his term this June.
I am so honored to be with you as board chair of Holocaust Museum Houston. I am especially proud to join you today, knowing that the generation of upstanders we are educating now will be our nation's leaders tomorrow. The museum's focus on Holocaust and human rights education is our moral commitment to our beloved Holocaust survivors, who inspire us and teach us all that hope is greater than hate. I would like to add my thanks to each of you for supporting our museum at this critical time. Your financial support enables us to continue our vital mission and inspire new generations of individuals to become upstanders in their community. Today's Guardian of the Human Spirit Award recipient has a long history of promoting tolerance, compassion, and respect. His dedication to education and inclusivity is exemplified by the fact that he provided funding toward the creation of extremely important institutions, such as Holocaust Museum Houston's Boniak Library and Boniak Center for the Future of Holocaust, Human Rights, and Genocide Studies, as well as the Boniak Institute for the Study and Advancement of Religious Tolerance at Rice University. Dr. Boniak is the physician's physician. He is a nationally and internationally recognized expert in the pathology and surgical management of blinding tumors. In addition to helping thousands of patients see, he has trained hundreds of medical students, residents, and fellows. Let's take a glimpse at the impact of Dr. Milton Boniak.
So I started to work with Milton back in 1986. I was a medical student at Baylor College of Medicine. Milton is very impressive on many different levels. He is an excellent representative of what a physician should be.
The thing that really makes him a great physician is he recognizes that medicine's a calling, and he recognizes the special role that physicians have in people's lives. He cares for people, he's compassionate for people, he's warm, he's an expert, he's all of the things you would want in a physician.
Guardian of the human spirit, I think, refers to the fact that we're all imbued with a spirit or an ethos within ourselves that is at risk. Having somebody who understands that that spirit needs protection and needs celebration is really important. Milton is a protector of his patients. He's a protector of his trainees. He's a protector of the spirit of what it is to be a physician. He promotes that, he exemplifies it.
One of the things that I love most about Dr. Boniak is this core fundamental belief he has that we should be celebrating the differences in all of us and never fearing those differences. He and his wife Lori really truly have been pivotal in our community for celebrating that.
I once asked Milton why give to Rice, and he said, well, every time he came on the campus, he felt so welcomed. Our goal as a university is both to foster a sense of being welcome and inclusiveness on our campus in a very diverse community, but our obligations go beyond that. Our obligations go out to the world. Really was, I think, visionary of Milton to identify religious tolerance as a problem that needed a lot of attention and a significant investment.
I think the thing that makes Dr. Boniak worthy of this award is he's always inspired to do more. He's always inspired to do better. He is going to take on the really hard problem, a systemic problem, and he's just going to start chipping away at it.
The theme that seems to bind together a lot of his philanthropy is the idea that he wants to build a better future for the community. He spends his days worrying about those with the least in our society and making sure that they have a voice, but also lift them up in a way that they'll have a voice going forward. His humanity, who he is as a person, is a perfect representation of the ideals of our museum.
Boniak has contributed greatly to the mission of the museum. The Boniak Library and the Boniak Education Center teach the dangers of hate, apathy, prejudice to the new generation. Having a world-class education center at the museum allows us to not only fulfill the mission in educating a large number of people, but it's about the quality of the programs that we are able to produce. The resources of the Boniak Center have allowed us to pivot to virtual learning. Last summer, we were able to host virtually the Summer Learning Experiences program, reaching over 100 students. We work with organizations all over the country and all over the world, and we're able to do that through the Boniak Center.
I think Dr. Boniak's going to have a remarkable number of legacies, but I think the long-lasting ripple effect is going to be all of the medical students and all of the residents and all of the fellows that he's trained to make us understand that we are servants of our patients.
You know, Dr. Boniak truly is a guardian of the human spirit. You know, people are 99.9% all the same DNA, every single one of us, and it's that 0.1% that actually makes the world an amazing place. Dr. Boniak understands that and wants to reinforce that and wants to celebrate that, and I think that is an amazing thing.
Dr. Boniak's philanthropy has promoted an inclusive community where there is tolerance of all religions, where communities are filled with respect. And that is an important part of his legacy and why he so much embodies the guardian of the human spirit.
Dr. Boniak, for all you have done and continue to do for Houston to advance tolerance and acceptance, for the lives you have touched personally and professionally, I am deeply honored to present to you the 2020 Guardian of the Human Spirit Award.
Thank you, Carl. I am deeply honored to have been selected to receive this award. When I first met with Kelly Zanika, Mark Mukasey, and Carl Josart several months ago, my initial response was to refuse it because I felt there were many more deserving people on the existing board of directors. One of them was Mark Mukasey, who was responsible for the plans for the original building and for the recent remodeling. He received no remuneration and has done an excellent job, and the museum is now one of the finest in the world. I've been impressed by the compassionate feeling of members of the regular and advisory board. When funds were raised for the initial museum over 20 years ago, my wife Lori and I contributed money to the library. Lori and I gave a gift to establish the Boniak Center in 2004 with the help of then President Malcolm Gillis. An additional gift was made in 2013 under the supervision of Dr. David Lebron, and we have accomplished a lot through the past few years. We're very happy what has occurred, and we wanted to continue to support the Holocaust Museum, and I decided to make a substantial gift to help in the building, in the new building. We have also, with Paula Sanders, worked to cooperate in a number of programs. When the remodeling of the museum was started, I was the first one to make a donation, and I'm happy to announce that the last payment was made several weeks ago. My father was born in Poland, my mother in Russia. They came to Canada in the early 20s. They moved to Glace Bay, Nova Scotia, where I was born. And during the 30s, I remember my father crying when he got news of what was going on in Europe. Just before 1939, he had tried to arrange for a relative physician to come to Canada, but he was unsuccessful and he perished. I witnessed during those years a lot of hardship in our family and others, and these were difficult times. But that we got a good education was critically important to all our parents, and they reminded us constantly that they could not help us with our scholastic studies, but they taught us by example to be honest, respectful, caring, and kind to others. We're extremely fortunate to have dedicated teachers in the local schools, and our parents fortunately were able to direct and supply sufficient financial support so that all 5 of us were able to go and graduate from Dalhousie University, 3 physicians, 1 dentist, and 1 school teacher. And again, I want to thank the Holocaust Museum for this wonderful honor. I look forward to continue to support the work that you're doing, and it's all very memorable, and keep it up. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Dr. Boniak. Your work on interfaith education and inclusion was the catalyst that led us to today's special guest speaker, Dr. Edith Eger. A native of Hungary, Edith Eger was just 16 years old in 1944 when she experienced one of the worst evils the human race has ever known. As a Jew living in Nazi-occupied Eastern Europe, she and her family were sent to Auschwitz, the heinous death camp where her parents lost their lives. Edith and her sister survived despite being subjected to unspeakable treatment by Dr. Joseph Mengele. They also managed to stay alive on the death march from Poland to Austria. When the American Army liberated the Gunskirchen camp in May 1945, Edith and her sister were barely alive. Fortunately, a young American soldier noticed her slight hand movement amongst a number of bodies. He quickly summoned medical help and brought Edith and her sister back from the brink of death. After the war, Edith moved to Czechoslovakia, where she met the man she would marry. And in 1949, they moved to the United States. In 1969, she received her degree in psychology from the University of Texas, El Paso. She then pursued her doctoral internship at the William Beaumont Army Medical Center at Fort Bliss, Texas. She has spent much of her professional time working with members of the military, helping them to live productive lives and heal from PTSD. Dr. Eger has always found ways to use her personal experiences to inspire, educate, and help others. She continues to work with patients from many walks of life in her practice in La Jolla, California. In 2017, at the age of 90, her memoir, The Choice, Embrace the Possible, was published to rave reviews by the New York Times Book Review. Her next book, The Gift, 12 Lessons to Save Your Life, will be released later this month. We are so honored to host Holocaust survivor Dr. Edith Eger as today's guest speaker.
My name is Dr. Edith Eva Eger. I'm delighted, so delighted to let you know that many years ago I visited the museum in Houston when it was brand new. I was with the YPO women. I stayed with the Hildebrand family, and I'm just so delighted to tell you that you are the most wonderful, giving, loving people I ever met. I can be useful to you hopefully today because what I will tell you is what I lived. And these are very difficult times, very challenging times. It's the unexpected and the unanticipated. We don't know what's going to happen. So I like to hopefully be your guide, how to really cope with grieving and feeling and healing, that you use this time as a gift, and you maybe find out that you're discovering resilience, perseverance, your inner strength. When I was a young girl, my parents took me to a ballet school, And my ballet master picked me up and said that life is about finding all the ecstasy inside out. I had no idea what ecstasy meant, but I would like to tell you that my ballet master really helped me to be a survivor and not a victim. Let me just take you for a ride. I am in a carol car, not being aware that in a few days we will arrive in a place called Auschwitz. We were not prepared for it. My mother held me and said, "We don't know where we're going. We don't know what's going to happen. Just remember, no one can take away from you what you put here in your own mind." I stood in line with my mom and sister Magda. And there was this guy who asked me whether the woman who I'm holding on to is my mother or my sister. Unfortunately, I told the truth. It's my mother. And he pointed my mother to go to the left. I followed my mom. He held me. He looked me in the eye and said, "Your mother is just going to take a shower. She's just going to be with you in no time at all." And that did not happen. When we were on the other side in Birkenau, we were completely shaven. We were told that we're going to go to a barrack and we're going to be working here. I remember when I asked, "When will I see my mother?" The capo pointed out fire was coming out of the chimney, and she said, "Your mother is burning there. You better talk about her in past tense." And my sister hugged me and told me that the spirit never dies. Today, I consider it my responsibility to celebrate one of the most wonderful gifts of God is memory, to let people know what happened as long as I live. And I consider my responsibility to talk to you as well, and being grateful to you to build this museum where people can come and learn about what it takes to be a survivor and not a victim of any circumstance. But I'm telling you today that what we're going through now is the same experience that I had when we took a shower in Auschwitz. We didn't know whether gas is going to come out or water. And when we study stress, we find out that there is an automatic response we have. We either fight or flee. In Auschwitz, that did not work at all, because if I touched the guards, I would have been right away killed. If I touched the barbed wires, I would have been electrocuted. So what I bring you today to Houston is there is still a third alternative. And this is where I found my strength in Auschwitz. What the ballet master told me to find my power within me. The Nazis could take me to the gas chamber, throw me there any minute. They would hurt me, they would beat me, they would torture me. But what I'm bringing you today, a bit of a chutzpah. And I'm going to bring you that defiant power that no Nazi could ever murder my spirit. And this is what I'm hoping to bring to Houston today. How to be a survivor, how to think, and being more flexible rather than rigid, to be hopefully using this time out, just like in a football game, to regroup and redecide, to make decisions in the family, how you can be closer together, how you can have rules, that there is cooperation, not competition. And that's the way it was in Auschwitz. I had my sister, so I was able to feed her the following day, because we got a little piece of bread and soup, and I would eat the bread and save soup so I can feed her. If you were just for the me, you didn't make it. We had to form a family. As I'm hoping that this is happening now, that this time what is going outside of us, we may not be able to change, but you may find your inner self, your inner strength, and find a gift in everything. And I guarantee you that the more you suffer, the stronger you become. So while I was in Auschwitz, I discovered many inner strength. And then I stood in line to get my tattoo. I was told that they don't want to waste the ink on me. And I was put on the top of a train with my sister, and I became a slave laborer. They put us on the top of a train with the striped uniforms, so the British won't bomb, but they bombed anyway. Many girls died around me. So those were the difficult times, because I was one of the last ones to be liberated. I went through Germany totally down to Austria, to Mauthausen. I stood in front of the crematorium, and then they changed their minds. I survived what is called today the Death March, because if you stopped, you were shot right away. I did revisit every one of the places where I've been, including Auschwitz. But the girls that I shared the bread with, when I entertained Dr. Mengele and danced, came and picked me up, and they carried me so I wouldn't die. Isn't that amazing? That the worst condition can bring out the best in us. And I hope that I am going to guide you today to find out the true you, not the you that you gave up perhaps in your family, not the person who you were in a family, maybe the funny one or the responsible one, because we are assigned many times roles and role expectations. I tell today, especially young people, don't allow anyone to define who you are. You're beautiful. God doesn't make junk. When I came to America, I didn't speak a word of English, and I just wanted to be a Yankee Doodle dandy like you. I ended up going to school, graduated with honors, but I never showed up for my graduation. I had tremendous survivor's guilt. And then I ended up working with Vietnam veterans. I had 2 paraplegics, and one of them was just lying there and blaming God, country. Conversely, the other one said to me, "Doc, I am in a wheelchair. God gave me a second chance. I can see the children's eyes much closer. I can see the flowers." And I was wearing a white coat, and it said Dr. Eager, Department of Psychiatry, and I felt like an imposter because I had my secret. I had a 16-year-old girl in me that I could not take them further than I have gone myself, and I decided to go back to Auschwitz. And this is the work I do today. We revisit the places where you've been and relive that experience, and then you move on. You're not revolving, you're evolving. And I went to the museum in Washington, and I remember when I went to the 3rd floor, there was a car, the kind of cattle car that I was in, and I had a very difficult time going through it. But once I did the best thing that I could to feel that feeling that I not only survived, but I am now a true survivor. And that's how I became Dr. Edith Eva Eger, and I am working very, very closely with the military on post-traumatic stress. It's not a disorder, it's grief. People ask me how long did it take for me to write my book, and my answer is the lifetime. And I was also requested to write another book that is more practical. And my second book is called The Gift, and it gives you not just how you can become your own good therapist. I give you some ways in every chapter, a how-to. So it is truly a self-help book. I like to impact you with hope, to get rid of guilt and to get rid of worry, because I never seen love coming out of worry, guilt, or fear. I like you to recognize that we're kind of stuck. Right now, we can't go out without a mask. We cannot really have parties, but we still have what is left, and that's your attitude that you choose towards it. It's an extremely difficult times that we are in right now, something that will call us to find a way to survive. And the way you do that is to talk to yourself, because the way you talk to yourself changes your whole body chemistry. It's very necessary to, when you talk, ask yourself, is it kind, and is it really necessary for me to say that? And if it's not, don't say it, because no one grows on criticism, but it starts with you. Love yourself, get up every morning, honor yourself, and you use that time as lovingly to really recognize that somehow, no matter what happened, you're still alive, letting go and not be the hostage or the prisoner of what is going on today. I am aware that if you look at your birth certificate, it doesn't say life is easy. There is no guarantee. There is no really certainty. But I do give you one thing. There is probability. The probability is that you acknowledge that we're going through the valley of the shadow of death, that this is temporary, this is not permanent, and you're going to really truly become an ultimate survivor, that any situation is going to become an opportunity for discovering the part in you, the one that will never give up. Because in my book, there are no problems in the world. There are only challenges. So you too have a choice. You go home and take inventory of yourself, where you've been, where are you now. There is one thing we cannot ever change, is the past. If I would live in a past, I would still live in hate. And I would still be the victim and the hostage of the past. But that doesn't mean I run away from it. It doesn't mean I deny it. Today I'm so free, letting you know that I can tell you what I lived, so you too can hopefully be a mentor for other people as well, and that you can really make a difference. One person can, and children don't do what we say, they do what they see. The Holocaust Museum is very important because people want to forget what happened and what happens when good people do bad things. I think it's very, very important to have the museum alive so it will never, ever happen again. I think it's all about prevention. Anti-Semitism is here now. It's really, really unfortunate. It's everywhere. And I'm hoping to be a good ambassador. And I would like the young people to be called ambassadors, that they can come to the museum, they could hold lessons, and they can study and make them also responsible citizens, to see to it that our children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren will never ever experience what I did. So that's why I am very, very grateful to you for building this museum. So when I come to Texas next time, I'm going to want to come to Houston. I'm going to want to come to your museum and give every one of you a standing ovation that you keep that part of history alive, and allowing me to come and talk to you is my wonderful gift of life. God bless you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for our virtual event and for your support and dedication to our mission. With HMH celebrating its 25th anniversary in March of 2021, our message from darkness, light has never been more relevant. If you'd like to support our efforts in teaching the dangers of hatred, prejudice, and apathy, please text HMH to 41444 or go to hmh.org/human spirit. And please join us in person for the U.S. premiere of Mandela, Struggle for Freedom, on view at the museum now through January 3rd. Thank you again for joining us today. Your unwavering support of Holocaust Museum Houston and your selfless generosity means more than I can ever express. Today, we will remember, we will teach, together we will make the world a better place. Thank you again so much for your support, and have a very, very nice evening.